as the years pass by quietly, have signs of weakness gradually emerged in your lower limbs? Do sudden muscle spasms or joint stiffness affect your daily activities? What if I told you that by making several adjustments to your regular lifestyle, you can keep the muscle groups in your lower limbs continuously strong, move steadily, and be free from pain, regardless of your actual age? This guide will systematically explain 5 regular strategies for maintaining the strength of the lower limbs and preventing common movement disorders in middle-aged and elderly people. Whether your goal is to maintain your exercise vitality, avoid physical discomfort, or pursue the ability to move independently, these proven interventions can significantly improve your motor function. Please stay tuned for the following content, because maintaining the strength of the lower limbs is directly related to ensuring the autonomy of life and the quality of life. Before we officially begin, we sincerely hope to know your current learning scenario. You are welcome to leave information about your viewing environment in the interactive area, and you can feel free to ask any related questions at any time. It is recommended that you subscribe to the channel immediately and enable the message reminder function to ensure that you can obtain more cutting-edge information for promoting physical health in a timely manner. First, let's focus on the exercise intervention system. With the increase of physiological age, the lower limb movement system directly determines an individual's freedom of movement as the basic supporting structure for daily activities. Basic actions such as getting up in the morning and climbing stairs all rely on its functional integrity. However, there is a common misunderstanding regarding the decline of lower limb muscle strength as an inevitable result of aging. Scientific evidence shows that the degenerative changes in muscle group function are reversible, and regular exercise training is the best solution for maintaining lower limb strength. The skeletal muscle system has the typical characteristic of use it or lose it. The termination of exercise will directly trigger the degeneration of muscle fibers, and this process is defined as the evolution of sarcopenia in the medical field. Relevant studies show that this process may start around the age of 30 and tend to accelerate after the age of 60. The lower limb muscle groups lacking effective stimulation will gradually atrophy, making basic functional movements such as standing up from a sitting position and walking in the community increasingly difficult. But it should be clear that muscle strength is not exclusive to young people. Geriatric medicine research has confirmed that muscle fiber regeneration and functional remodeling can be achieved through systematic resistance training. This program is suitable for people with various exercise backgrounds, including beginners who have lacked exercise for a long time and intermediate fitness enthusiasts who hope to optimize their existing training. The scientifically designed exercise prescription can not only improve the function of the lower limbs but also bring about systemic health benefits. An ideal lower limb strength training system should integrate 4 elements: resistance training, balance training, joint flexibility training, and low-impact aerobic exercise. Basic strength training forms the core of the system. It is recommended to use body weight training methods, standard squats, lunges, and sit-to-stand movements can effectively activate the quadriceps muscle group, hamstring muscle group, and gastrocnemius complex. For people in the training adaptation period, it is recommended to start with basic functional movements, for example, the sit-to-stand training without arm support. This movement pattern perfectly replicates the mechanical characteristics of daily activities, and through repeated practice, basic muscle strength reserves can be gradually established. In the advanced stage, resistance bands or light ankle weights can be introduced to continuously stimulate muscle growth through progressive load increase. Balance ability is a key element. The root cause of the large number of accidental falls is the weakening of the muscle groups that maintain body stability, especially the ankle joint and quadriceps muscle group. By implementing targeted training such as single-leg balance training while holding onto a chair, or practicing traditional guiding techniques, static and dynamic balance abilities can be significantly improved. Such training not only strengthens the muscle group strength but also promotes the adaptive changes of the neuromuscular coordination system, establishing an effective protection mechanism before losing balance. Only having strength reserves is not enough. Maintaining joint mobility is crucial for preventing movement limitations. Implementing regular stretching training, especially for maintaining the flexibility of the hamstring muscle group, gastrocnemius complex, and iliopsoas muscle group, can significantly reduce the risk of sports injuries. It is recommended to perform 5-8 minutes of progressive stretching every morning or after training to ensure that all links of the lower limb movement chain have sufficient movement space. For people with sensitive joints, a low-impact exercise mode is recommended. Exercise forms such as aquatic exercise, flat ground gait training, and stationary cycling can not only maintain muscle activity but also avoid excessive joint surface load. This exercise mode has 3 benefits: promoting microcircuit metabolism, maintaining bone mineral density, and enhancing proprioceptive function, forming an important part of the fracture prevention system. It should be clear about the accumulative characteristics of training benefits. The improvement of muscle strength is a progressive physiological adaptation process. The small gains generated by daily regular training will eventually lead to significant functional improvement through continuous accumulation. The second core element, nutritional supply. Exercise training constitutes the core driving force for muscle strength development, while nutritional intake is the energy substrate supply system. The lack of scientific nutritional support will lead to the inhibition of muscle protein synthesis, an extended recovery period, and a decrease in exercise endurance. Dietary intake not only maintains basic metabolism but is also the molecular raw material for building motor function and an important line of defense against degenerative changes. The common nutritional misunderstanding among middle-aged and elderly people is insufficient protein intake. With the increase of age, the efficiency of the body's protein metabolism shows a progressive decline, and an increased intake is required to maintain a nitrogen-balanced state. Epidemiological data show that more than 60% of the elderly population's daily protein intake does not reach the recommended value, leading to a significantly increased risk of sarcopenia. Protein can be regarded as the building adhesive for muscle fibers. Insufficient intake will lead to the accelerated decomposition of myofibrils, and it is difficult to prevent muscle strength loss even with regular exercise. The essential amino acids, especially leucine, contained in high-quality protein, are key signaling molecules that trigger muscle protein synthesis. According to the recommendations of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, the daily protein intake of the elderly population should be maintained in the range of 1.01 to g/kg of body weight. Taking an individual weighing 70 kg as an example, the daily intake of 70-80 for g of high-quality protein is required. Special attention should be paid to the distribution of intake timing. It is recommended to adopt the 3-1 intake mode, allocate 20-25 g of protein in each of the 3 main meals, and supplement 10-15 g with a post-training snack to ensure an anabolic environment throughout the day. Protein sources with high biological value such as whey protein, deep-sea fish, and soy protein isolate should be preferred. After a deep analysis of the original text, the knowledge is now reconstructed according to professional creation specifications. Building a strong lower limb system requires the coordinated action of 3 elements. Protein forms the basic framework, calcium builds the defensive works, and vitamin D is the key catalyst. As the core structure of the support system, maintaining bone density requires sufficient calcium reserves. When the intake of this mineral is insufficient, the bone tissue will gradually become porous, leading to a decrease in structural stability and even the risk of bone fractures. Vitamin E plays an important role in biotransformation, which can significantly improve the absorption efficiency of calcium in the digestive tracts. Without this transformation medium, even if a large amount of calcium is ingested, it is difficult to be effectively utilized. High-quality calcium sources are diversely distributed. Dairy products provide a concentrated calcium source. Dark leafy vegetables contain plant-based calcium. Fortified foods have the characteristic of precise supplementation. And sunbathing can activate the biochemical mechanism of the human body's independent synthesis of vitamin D. When there is a gap in dietary supplementation, scientifically formulated nutritional supplements can be used as an emergency solution. After all, in the case of a dysfunctional skeletal system, any muscle strength will lose its meaning of existence. The hidden health threat comes from the chronic inflammatory response, which will silently disintegrate the kinetic system of the lower limbs through continuous tissue damage. The inflammatory storm induced by an improper dietary structure may lead to the accelerated catabolism of muscle fibers and the degeneration of joint function, forming a vicious cycle. The countermeasure is to build an antifoam dietary matrix. Choose grass-fed meat to provide pure protein. Deep-sea fish such as salmon and sardines are rich in 3 fatty acids. Nuts and seeds contain phytosterolers, and fresh fruits and vegetables rich in polyphenols from a protective barrier. Every dietary decision affects the durability of the motor system, and a scientific food screening mechanism needs to be established. Nutritional intake is essentially a biological repair project, achieving tissue maintenance, damage repair, and system defense through the precise ratio of nutrients. The body with optimized nutritional supply has 3 advantages: the coordinated operation of the motor system, the improved efficiency of tissue regeneration, and the effective delay of age-related functional decline. Exercise training only completes 50 of the strengthening project, and the remaining 50 of the repair process is completed during the resting period. The physiological repair program initiated during the deep sleep stage includes key processes such as the restructuring of muscle fibrilla, the resynthesis of energy substances, and the maintenance of the bone and joint system. Sleep deprivation is like building an all-building on a soft foundation. No matter how scientific the training intensity is and how precise the nutritional intake is, the lack of a repair window period will lead to the failure of the entire strengthening project. During the slow-wave sleep stage, the growth hormone released by the anterior pituitary gland forms a repair signal chain. This pleioptic hormone simultaneously promotes the proliferation of muscle satellite cells and the mineralization of the bone matrix. This mechanism is particularly important for middle-aged and elderly people and can effectively combat sarcopenia. Research has confirmed that there is a dose-effect relationship between sleep quality and lower limb function among people over 60 years old. Those who sleep less than 6 hours a day have a 38% decrease in lower limb muscle strength and a 27% increase in gait stability compared to those who get enough sleep. Every sleep cycle that is deprived means the permanent loss of the regeneration opportunity of the lower limbs. Strength training and physical activities will create a benign stress in the muscle group, and dysfunctional stimulation will lead to microscopic damage to the muscle fibers. This physiological phenomenon has a positive meaning and is the core mechanism for the muscle tissue to achieve overcompensation. However, if the value of the repair cycle is ignored, the muscle group continuously in a state of metabolic stress will lead to the accumulation of exercise-induced fatigue, significantly increasing the probability of delayed soreness and the risk of injury. Therefore, it is particularly important to establish a scientific training cycle model, arrange high-load training days at intervals with low-intensity activities such as walking training, flexibility improvement, and proprioceptive training, which can not only maintain the activity of the lower limb function but also create the best window period for muscle fiber remodeling. How to build a complete recovery system to maximize the strengthening of lower limb function? The primary principle is to create a golden repair period, maintaining 7-9 hours of continuous sleep every day, which is the basic time limit for the body to complete the reorganization of the myofascia and the renewal of joints synovial fluid. It is recommended to establish a fixed daily routine by setting regular sleep and wake-up time points. The circadian rhythm oscillator can be precisely regulated, thereby optimizing the efficiency of falling asleep and the continuity of sleep. Restricting the intake of nerve stimulants such as caffeine 3 hours before sunset and reducing the duration of blue light exposure before going to bed can effectively increase the proportion of slow-wave sleep and ensure that the muscle system undergoes deep repair. It should be particularly noted that the impact of body posture mechanics on the quality of recovery is often underestimated. For people with lower limb discomfort, it is recommended to use a support pillow between the knees in the lateral lying position, and configure a lower limb support pillow in the supine position. Through biomechanical decompression, the pressure in the joint cavity and muscle tension can be significantly reduced, preventing pain from interfering with the repair process. Fine-tuning the environment also has significant effects, controlling the temperature of the sleeping environment within the range of 1820 C, combined with a full light-blocking design, can induce an earlier peak of melatonin and help the body enter a metabolic repair state. It is worth noting that the sleep disorders commonly found in middle-aged and elderly people are not irreversible age markers, but mostly stem from lifestyle patterns that can be intervened. When the recovery system is given priority protection, its benefits will extend in multiple dimensions, improving proprioceptive balanceability, inhibiting the release of inflammatory factors, optimizing neurocognitive function, and enhancing immune surveillance efficiency. These synergistic effects have a multiplier effect on the maintenance of the motor system, When you are doing regular training and following a scientific diet but still feel that your lower limbs are heavy, have frequent muscle spasms, and experience abnormal decline in endurance, your body may be sending out a hydration alarm. This seemingly basic but crucial physiological element is being lost. The water molecule network constitutes the energy transmission system of the motor system. From standing support to movement actions, every mechanical output depends on the balance of cell fluid. The water content in the protoplasm of muscle cells accounts for 65-70. Even a loss of 1 body fluid can lead to a 9 decrease in muscle strength output and a 23 slowdown in the recovery rate, creating an illusion of lower limb weakness. What's more concerning is that with the increase of physiological age, the body's thirst feedback gradually becomes blunted. This means that when there is a subjective need for drinking water, the body is already in a stage of dehydration compensation. And at this time, muscle cells have already been under the dual pressure of metabolic waste accumulation and electrolyte imbalance. Have you ever experienced the trouble of stiffness and discomfort in your lower limbs when you wake up in the morning? This motor dysfunction does not simply result from physiological decline, but is more likely a warning of hydration imbalance issued by the body. When the reserve of cell fluid is insufficient, the efficiency of hemodynamics decreases. The oxygen supply to muscle cells is reduced, and metabolic byproducts such as lactic acid accumulate, leading to a 30-45 decrease in exercise performance. Scientific hydration management can optimize the efficiency of hemodynamics, ensure that muscle cells receive sufficient nutrient supply, and enable the actin-myosin complex to achieve an efficient contraction-relaxation cycle. It should be noted that hydration is not only a guarantee for muscle strength output but also a basic element for the normal operation of the joint mechanics system. During the human gait cycle, the joint synovial fluid plays a crucial role in buffering and shock absorption. This viscous tickle substance is secreted by synovial cells to ensure low-friction movement of the knee, ankle, and hip joints. When the dehydration index exceeds 2, the viscosity of the synovial fluid increases by 60, and the friction coefficient of the joint surface rises, which in turn causes exercise pain and limited mobility, forming a vicious cycle. At this time, establishing a regular hydration mechanism can often effectively relieve the symptoms. Muscle fiber tremors, commonly known as cramps, are typical signs of hydration imbalance. The state of dehydration will disrupt the transmembrane gradient of the sodium-potassium pump, leading to abnormal release of calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. When the concentration of magnesium ions in the extracellular fluid is lower than 0.7 mol, the excitability of the motor end plate is abnormally increased, causing involuntary muscle contractions. By maintaining a daily basic water intake of 1.5 to L, the electrolyte profile can be effectively stabilized, and the incidence of lower limb cramps at night can be reduced by 75. A daily water intake of 8 cups about to L can be used as a reference standard, but it needs to be adjusted dynamically according to the amount of exercise metabolism, hydrating 5-7 ml per kilogram of body weight per hour. Environmental temperature and humidity, increasing the amount by 20-30 in a high-temperature environment, and individual metabolic characteristics. It is recommended to adopt a continuous hydration mode, taking in 150-200 ml every 90 minutes instead of drinking a large amount of water at once. Immediately replenish 300 ml of warm water in the morning, compensating for the 500 ml of insensible water loss at night. Drink 200 ml of water during meals, and place a visible water cup in the workplace as a behavioral reminder. If you have a low acceptance of plain water, you can choose alternative options such as mint tea containing 96 water, honey melon with a water content of 92, or clear mushroom soup. For people troubled by nocturia, it is recommended to implement a time-segmented hydration strategy. Complete 70 of the daily water intake during the daytime, 618, 0. Supplement 25 during the evening, 1820, 0. And stop drinking water 90 minutes before going to bed. This plan can simultaneously meet the hydration needs and ensure the quality of sleep. The ultimate goal is to maintain the dynamic balance of cell osmotic pressure. By establishing a 24-hour water balance curve, it is ensured that the motor system remains in the best functional state. When the water content in muscle cells is maintained within the ideal range of 70-75, the muscle strength output efficiency is increased by 12. The joint mobility is increased by 18. and the risk of sports injuries is reduced by 40. This is not just a simple act of drinking water, but also a strategic investment in the lifespan of exercise. The human motor system has a natural mechanism for activity needs. Especially the lower limb function module requires continuous dynamic stimulation to maintain muscle strength output, optimize the microcircuit network, and strength and proprioception balance ability. However, contemporary lifestyle has given rise to a continuous static maintenance posture, whether it is interacting with electronic devices, reading, or relaxing. 67% of the population has an average daily sitting time of more than 8 hours. This behavior pattern will lead to progressive muscle fiber degeneration, a decrease in hemodynamic efficiency, and a decline in exercise coordination. It should be noted that functional decline often presents hidden characteristics. When an individual experiences significant difficulty in performing basic actions such as climbing stairs, standing up from a chair, or continuous walking, the lower limb function may have been lost by more than 30. When maintaining a sitting position for more than 45 minutes, the main muscle groups of the lower limbs, quadriceps femoris, hamstrings, gastrocnections complex, enter a metabolic dormant state. The continuous disuse of the motor units will trigger the proteolytic effect of myosin heavy chain, which perfectly illustrates the physiological law of use it or lose it. Clinical data shows that for every additional hour of continuous sitting, the rate of lower limb muscle mass loss increases by 1.2, and this value can reach to 0.5 in the elderly population. Maintaining a static posture will lead to a 28% increase in the resistance of venous return and a 40% decrease in the efficiency of lymphatic drainage. This change in the microvenamentin may cause lower limb swelling and increase in ankle circumference 3 cm. The 17% increase in the risk of deep vein thrombosis, and is accompanied by a significant feeling of heaviness in the lower limbs. When the body position is finally changed, 42% of individuals will experience symptoms of postural hypotension. The core 2, 78%. The core to counteract the harm of static postures is not to replace it with high-intensity training, but to establish a fragmented exercise compensation mechanism. Research has confirmed that implementing 12-15 micro-exercise interventions per day, each lasting 90 seconds, can effectively maintain the integrity of lower limb functions. Implement a periodic activation plan. Perform a 3-minute posture change every 30-60 minutes. It is recommended to carry out in situ stepping training activating the soleus muscle pump, calcaneus lifting and lowering movements strengthening the elasticity of the Achilles tendon, or indoor circular displacement promoting the adaptation of the vestibular system. These micromovements can neutralize 78% of the negative effects of static postures. Transform daily behaviors into opportunities for functional training. Adopt a standing posture during communication. Perform isometric contractions of the quadriceps femoris during movie viewing, and prefer vertical displacement by stairs instead of using an elevator. Even basic actions such as alternating the transfer of the center of gravity can maintain the excitability of the muscle spindle nerves and prevent joint sticking. For people with limited mobility, design a chair-based training module, sitting lower limb suspension, improving the entrance of the hip flexor muscle group. 3-dimensional trajectory movement of the ankle joint, enhancing the stability of the talus, and resistance band training, an effective solution for maintaining muscle tension. These improved programs can achieve metabolic activation in a zero displacement state. There is a common cognitive bias of 30-minute exercise exemption, even if the recommended daily exercise amount is completed. If the remaining time is in a static mode, the lower limb muscle strength will still decline at a rate of 0.3 per week. Exercise physiology has confirmed that muscle fibers need to continuously receive nerve impulse stimulation to maintain the integrity of the contraction units. Essentially, maintaining a posture is not a health threat. The key is to break the continuity of static postures. Every time you stand up and stretch, and every time you change your gait, it is a strategic investment in the reserve of lower limb functions. Please reflect on yourself at this moment. How long has it been since your last posture change? If it has been more than 45 minutes, please start the micro-exercise program immediately. Your motor system is waiting for the instruction to restart its function. By systematically implementing this 5-dimensional health management model, dynamic metabolic activation, optimization of the nutritional matrix, maintenance of the golden repair cycle, cellular hydration balance, and intervention in static behaviors, You are not only consolidating your current motor function, but also making a strategic investment in lifelong health reserves. The mechanical optimization of each gait cycle, the precise supplementation of nutrients each time, and the physiological repair during each period of deep sleep are all reshaping your biological age parameters. Physiological aging does not necessarily come with functional decline. When a scientific management mechanism is established, the reserve of lower limb muscle strength can be maintained at 90 of the level in youth for more than 20 years. The core lies in establishing neurobehavioral adaptability. It is recommended to adopt a 21-day periodic progressive intervention method and complete 3 basic optimization programs every day. Start the health management program from this moment, and you will witness the chain effects of enhanced proprioception, improved exercise economy, and improved metabolic flexibility. If this health management framework brings you cognitive inspiration, please click the knowledge dissemination support like function, which will inspire us to continuously output a content system verified by evidence-based medicine. The academic exchange area comment section is looking forward to your personalized health propositions, functional assessment needs, or suggestions for special research topics to ensure that you can obtain the latest achievements in sports medicine in real time. It is recommended to complete the information subscription and turn on the academic update reminder next to the latest health algorithms and continuously optimize the physiological age parameters. Maintain metabolic sensitivity and optimize physiological functions. Let's meet again in the next special topic on cell rejuvenation. Every health decision you make at this moment is accumulating compound interest returns for the freedom of movement in the next decade.